But thanks for coming to our first birthday, Brighter Together birthday, and this is our celebration of a whole year of working with our beauty guides to help fund this amazing project that we've been teaming up with the past year. And Amy, right? Amy is here from PCI to join us. I'm pretty sure we're the only chapter that has somebody from PCI joining us, just say. So, but they caught wind that we were doing this, and I really love that you came out here to talk to us a little bit more about what we're doing, because I feel like you hear from us, but I think it's going to be great to hear from somebody within the Project Concern International team to know, exactly what's going on. So if I can invite you up for a few words and kind of.
You guys don't mind, I'll take mine.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
So welcome.
I'm not really good with speaking in public. I need my own empowerment program.
We don't bite, I promise.
Yeah, I'm from an organization, an international nonprofit called Project Concern International. It started in San Diego, California as a cross-border program with Mexico, but we now work in Africa, in Asia, and in Central America. And I'm the director of our Women's Empowerment Program. So the project that we've been partnering with the foundation on is in my team, and we call it Women Empowered. It's what's called a Village Savings and Loan Program. And what does that mean? It means women come together, women and men, but in our case, women come together in groups and they sort of create their own community bank. So they're women who are, we work in both rural and urban areas, but we work with a lot of women who are extremely marginalized in very poor communities, and they wouldn't have access to loans to start businesses. And by businesses, we're talking really small initiatives like selling tomatoes in their community. And they wouldn't be able to get loans to put their kids in school, etc. So what the women do is they come together and they pool their savings and they start creating loans to each other. But more importantly, they get financial education. So some of these women have low financial literacy. They learn for the first time about savings. Some of them have low numeracy. So for the first time in their life, they're getting some education on that. And we also do some soft skills education on things like decision making, communication skills. And then some of our women also go on to get basic business skills training, and they become entrepreneurs, right? So they learn how to set a price on something, or how to think about inventory and supply, all on a very small scale. But I think the most important thing they get, which we see a lot of similarities with your organization, is this peer support. And they're working in groups. They can call on their sisters, their friends in the community, and they come together to solve social problems. So, for example, my team was just in Tanzania last week, and they visited, we call it Women Empowered, or WE, and they visited some WE groups in Tanzania who had, in one of their group discussions, had identified that they had a problem with some children who, they were overcrowded school, and the kids were basically having class outside under a tree, and they didn't have classroom space. So they came together. These are very poor women, came together, and they started by donating 1 bag of cement, and then they started collecting more bags of cement, and then they started collecting some small funds in their communities from people who could make resource contributions of materials or funds, and then they went to the farmers and the business people, and lo and behold, eventually they were able to, I have pictures of it if it's interesting to anyone, but they were able to contribute to get people to mobilize the community to build this small classroom, right? And so we have stories from like that from around the globe. And I'm really excited to hear what you guys will be doing locally, because I understand you're going to be doing some local initiatives that you might identify projects in your own communities that are of interest. I've been in the nonprofit world a long time. If there's any way I can help, please feel free to reach out. If you're wondering, does this seem like a good project? How can I find more information? Where can I get connected? Just happy to be of use.
You can, actually. That's literally what we're doing tonight.
Okay, so. Good. Yeah. I'm much more dialed into the international community, but as it relates to nonprofit, it's kind of all I've ever been doing. So hopefully I have some skills. But I just want to say a little bit about what we've been able to do over the last year through this partnership. So it's been about 1 year. And the way it is we pool funds from a lot of different resources. The program globally, we think we've reached 500,000 women. but that's over many, many years. In the last 12 months, we have, our organization has supported 67,000 women in Africa and the Americas, and they participated in the program. Of those, over 5,000 women received basic business skills training. So a lot of the skills that you guys have gained in your own work. I'm a terrible entrepreneur, so I'm like the worst case scenario. I would fail out of any basic business skills training, but I have colleagues who teach that. And those women, they were able to save over $2 million. Wow. And they were able to loan $1.7 million to each other. Wow. Wow. So this is in, I can say, let's see, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Malawi, Botswana. I think that's Africa. And then we have a program in India. We also have Burundi in Africa. And then in Central America, we have Guatemala and Nicaragua. Some groups in our immigrant communities in San Diego, California. Yeah, and we're always hoping to grow. So that's where we are right now. And in the next year, together with the Brighter Together Foundation, we think we'll reach 42,000 women in 2019. And about 7,000 of those will get basic business skills training, so they come together. Sometimes they do group businesses together. And over 4,000 of those will receive, some really important, what we call soft skills, right? Interpersonal communication, problem solving, time and stress management, which to us are things we take for granted, but you're talking about women who, some of them, no one has ever invested in them. They're totally marginalized. We have stories of women who say, I was scared to even speak in public until I got the support from this group. So we couldn't do that without you guys. We're super excited. We've done so much in a year. And I think, Kat, you can maybe link people to more information about which of the products. It's on the website.
Yes, it's all the Brighter Together collections that we have. In fact, we've got great things going on with that this month. We have more initiatives happening within LimeLife this month as well in terms of the sales field, and some goodies coming up that I won't divulge at this point.
Okay, great. If you want any more information, I have information. It's also on the website with some stories of individual women. And mostly just really excited to see what we're going to do together in the next year. This has been so valuable. We see such a great, maybe you could also share with them the video of when Michelle went to
Yes, Guatemala. I think you guys have all seen it, right? The Guatemala video? Yeah, I believe they're all very invested in it.
Great. And let me know how I can help also with your domestic initiative.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. So what we're going to do now is, of course, we're always going to be doing things with PCI, with we. Actually, I'm sure a lot of you guys know the story, but this literally fell into our lap. When we went to a leadership conference, it was just a number of us, and I was sitting next to Michelle. I remember it's literally saying, like, we were tasked to find a US-based organization to help. And one of my things was, like, I had just talked to my sister. We were talking about like kind of war-torn areas and places in dire need of help and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, it's just too bad you can't go global." I'm like, "Yeah." And it really started to tug at my heartstrings. And I mentioned that to Michelle maybe minutes before the presentation from PCI came up. And she's like, "Well, what is it that you're looking for?" I was like, "It's got to be about women's empowerment. It's got to be about teaching skills to women to be able to get up and out of their situations. I would love if it could be global." And I had this whole list. And within 5-10 minutes, this hour-long presentation of PCI, of them visiting and doing all this stuff, and I was just like in tears. And I'm like right next to Michelle, and even Michelle after that, she's like, "We got to do this." I mean, the person who was saying we got to stay US is like, "We have to be a part of this." It was, like I said, very much in our lap. Like, you can't ignore that, right, when that happened like that. So I was very excited. I always get like choked up when I think about this stuff, but I was very excited that we got to do that. And so now we're still continuing with that. We're always going to continue with that, but we want to bring that same passion locally as well. And so how it's been working with Brighter Together is when a senior hits, like there's a senior rank that's hit in each of these states, they either start the state chapter, they're the first one, or they group together if there's more than one. For example, I think there's like 6 or 7 in Arkansas right now that are all doing 80 people, I think there's like in their group right now. So that's how it works, and every time a new state pops up with a new senior director, then there's a new chapter, and that's the amazing thing about it. So it gets people to want to be there more than just a rank or title. There's so much more purpose behind it.